What's happening, people? So we're up in Westminster. We're going to go around asking members of the public what they think about the digital ID being issued and rolled out into the UK. Do you mind if I ask you a question? What do you think about the digital ID being rolled out in the UK?
I think it's a really bad thing.
I think it's a bad thing. Why is that?
No freedom anymore.
No freedom.
Absolutely not. We're becoming another China, another Russia. And, yeah.
Excuse me, do you mind if I ask you a question on what your opinion is on the digital ID in the UK?
I don't think we should do it.
You don't think we should do it? Why is that?
It's got too many implications that the government can then basically do whatever they want. It can be addressed with everything. Like, so say for instance, this is one that I was thinking about the other day. Say for instance, they put it in place, say they get it done quite quickly before the next election, and then they say, oh, unless you've got your digital ID, you can't come in and you can't vote.
Okay.
So that puts out a lot of people. Like, I think there's a vast majority of people that don't want it, and they are people that wouldn't vote for Labour anyway.
Yeah.
But now they're not going to get voted out because then people can't vote.
Okay.
And then the secondary side of it is you don't know who's going to be in government in 5 years' time. Like, you've got to trust the government with all of that information. So I don't think it's a very good idea. There's too much power in their hands, and you don't know who's going to have that power in 5 years' time. Like, I really don't think it's a good idea.
Safe to say, if they do issue it, you won't be getting it done. Question: what you think about a digital ID in the UK? No, nothing to say on the topic. No. Well then, right. So, personally, what's your opinion on the digital ID being rolled out in the UK?
I think it's a Human Rights Act Article 8 breach because it breaches privacy, doesn't it?
Of course.
The right to privacy.
Okay, and where going forward do you think this will become a problem for the UK?
I think it's already a problem. I think if we have a Prime Minister who spent most of his life as a human rights lawyer, knowingly breaching human rights, I think it's time to say it's already gone seriously wrong.
What do you think about a digital ID issued out in the UK?
I think it's a terrible idea.
You think it's a terrible idea? Why's that?
Civil rights, hacking, because I will lose our identities.
Yeah.
I don't believe the state should be doing that sort of thing.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you for your time. Right, so Bob, I just want to ask you what you think about a digital ID being enrolled out into the UK.
I think it's just a pathetic attempt at Keir Starmer to kind of rehash himself rhetorically towards the left and kind of be this new Blair figure within the left politics. I don't think it will work. I think what will happen is that Keir Starmer is incredibly incompetent. He's going to introduce a system that he won't ultimately use, and it'll be difficult for him because there's currently a coalition of your party members, Greens, Conservatives, Reforms, all ultimately against it. But if he does push it through the Labour landslide that he received only of 38% of the voter base, I think it'll be used later down the line as a tool to control people.
A few people I've spoken to today have come up with the same idea. Another person, someone else had mentioned the information then being passed on to another party that may future come into play. Where do you feel like the information should, obviously, may or may not should be passed into the hands of the wrong people or the wrong party?
My suspicion is that, firstly, if you look at, like, for example, the Online Harms Bill, all of the ID verification was done via a third party. So we'd have to look at where the data is being stored when it comes to digital ID. If it is through a third party, firstly, you're susceptible to cyber attacks, which has happened a lot very recently when it comes to big corporations being attacked. And secondly, of course, yes, if a severely corrupt or incompetent government comes into play, they could potentially use the exchange of data of citizens for the benefit of other private companies or even foreign powers. You always have to be in very careful consideration when you have this one center of data that communicates every single person's information, and that could also be used to trace what people are doing within their day-to-day life. Because I'd like to think, although it's probably not true even now, that at least some of the things I do are within my privacy and not publicly owned by the government, and at least I would have to do a degree of investigation into it. But now with digital ID, you'll be able to trace every single aspect of your life and possibly even prevent it.
Can I get your opinion on what you think of the digital ID in the UK? I don't think we're going to get a response from him, unfortunately. What's your personal opinion on the digital IDs being enrolled out in the UK?
to be honest with you, we've got a lot of digital IDs anyways, between passports, even our own bank cards. Everything that we use is pretty much all digital either way. I do find it concerning. I do believe that the people behind it, especially anything to do with Tony Blair, I don't trust whatsoever. His son apparently is meant to be the owner of it. The person is going to be held responsible for making sure that it operates correctly and so on. Do I feel like it's going to be a burden on the people? Yes, I do. The same thing as people were forced to get the vaccines just to work. Now it doesn't seem like anything bothers the people from what it did when it came to the C-19. I've got to be careful with certain words. However, it is quite concerning, in my opinion. It's another way to control people. And I do believe whatever they tell you is behind these ID cards, there will be a lot more than that to come out. That's just my opinion.